So we have all of our patterns ready. So now we're going to be cutting and sewing. So as you can see, I close up the dart around this one as well, and here's the other one. So I'm just, this is the fabric we're going to be using to illustrate this pattern. Okay, so I'm going to pin them, pin everything, then I'll cut. Okay. So I've cut out all of my patterns. I'm going to be using this one for the overlap. Okay, so I'll use this one to illustrate the one that doesn't overlap. So I'll just take off all my patterns. Because it's a bustier, you need to iron breast tube. Okay, you need to put in some breast tube in your fabric to enhance the bust area. Okay, so this is what I have for this one. This is the middle piece. I hope you guys can see. That's the middle piece, and this is the two side piece. Okay, this is the two side piece. So I'm just using this fabric just to illustrate to you guys. So we're going to be sewing the two patterns so that we can see how it's going to turn out at the end of the day. Okay, so this is the overlap and this is the overlap, and we have our keyhole detail in the middle around there. Okay, like I said when we're drafting the pattern, the keyhole wideness depends on you, but for this pattern, remember I said I want it to have a deep sweater neck. Now it's having the curved neckline that the pattern has. Okay, remember the pattern was having a curved neckline around here, but I want to make it a deep sweater. Okay, so I'm going to make it a deep sweater before I cut out the lining. So because I was doing two method on my pattern, so I couldn't take out the pattern, the sweater neckline. So I'm just going to deepen it here in the fabric, which is also very possible. I'll deepen it, then I'll take my sweater neckline like so. Okay, I want it to have a deep sweater detail, so I want you guys to just see the difference among the two patterns. Okay, so this is going to be having a deep sweater neckline, the other one is having a round neck. Okay, so by the time I bring them up together, so this is what I will have at the end of the day. So this is having a round neck. So now I'll take it to my ironing board. I'll just put in some interfacing, some stay around it. Okay, but when you sew for a real pattern, when you sew for yourself or you sew for a client, you should put a breast part to enhance it. Okay, so I'll take this to the iron. Let me put some pads there. So guys, I've gone ahead to iron a little breast pad. Okay, just the softest one. I just found some to use just to illustrate for this class for us. Okay, so I just ironed some little ones around it. So I did the same thing for the other side and this one. So I also went ahead to the upper part to iron some estay to it. Okay, so the next thing we are going to be doing now, so we are going to be sewing this one first. This is the one that overlaps. Okay, remember I deepened this mid neckline, I deepened the neckline into a sweetheart neckline. So I'm going to take this to the sewing machine. The first thing you will do is to match all of this part together. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting out my lining as well. Pin. Then off to the sewing machine to sew, guys. Okay, so I'll sew here and I'll sew here, I'll sew here. Okay, so I'm going to take it now to the sewing machine to go and sew, then I'll bring it back to show you guys. So I've already gone ahead to cut out my lining. We are only going to be sewing the front part. Okay, so I'll cut my lining for this one. I've cut my lining, so I'm going to be showing you guys how to turn it to make it how to make it to have a really nice clean finish on the inside. Remember, I'm all about clean finish. Okay, so I'll go to the sewing machine. I'll come back to show you guys what it looks like. Can I go ahead to press the seams open? Okay, so now join the lining together. So yes, just me bringing my patterns together back to the upper piece, just for me to be sure of the seam allowance which I added, so that I can take away the exact seam allowance. Okay, you can see the actual line, and here's the seam allowance I added, so I can take away the exact allowance. Okay, that is why I brought them back together. So now I'm going to use my lining to turn this one as well. Use my lining to turn it. So now I'm pressing the breast cup area. Okay, remember this is just for illustration, and don't forget to notch it. Okay, after notching it, you are going to press your seams open. It's very important that you press your seam open, and you should use a tailor's hammer to press it, because you don't want to lose the cup. Okay, so guys, after ironing this part, the lower part, and I've also given the upper part a good press as well. So the next thing I need to do is to come and match them up together. Okay, so this is just the technical part I'm going to show you people. It's all about perfect finishing. Okay, so I'm going to bring them up together. Remember, when we're drafting the pattern, this came all the way to the bust point. Okay, so this is the pattern. You can see it came all the way to the bust point. Okay, can you see it came all the way to the bust point? So I'm going to keep that aside. So I'm going to make sure I match the two armhole together. Can you see? I'm going to make sure the armhole they match. You know, this was traced out all the way from the armhole. So I'm going to put in some pins to match that up. So I'm going to pin it. Okay, so I'll put in my pins there to match it up. So I'll do the same thing for the other side. I want to match up my armhole. I'll pin it. Take my pins to pin them down. Okay, you can see what we have now. After pinning, this is what I have. So I'm going to flip it to the wrong side so you guys can see. So this is what we have at the wrong side at the moment. Okay, so this is what I have. So this is the good side. This is what we have after matching that, the upper part to the lower part. So now I'm not going to take my lining. I'll pick up my lining, the front side of my lining. I'm going to be facing, this is the front side, this is the front side of my lining. Then I'll flip this backward. Okay, but the first thing I'll do is to sew here, just to keep them together. I'll sew here down, remove my pins, I'll sew here down just to keep it together. So I'll do that now. So I've used my sewing machine to secure the both patterns together now, so it's not going to move. So they are not together, they are not secured. Okay, so the next thing I want to do now, because the inside is still very rough, so I need to use my lining to close it up. So I'm going to bring my lining front side facing the front side of this pattern. So what I'll do is this upper part, I'm going to flip it back down like so. Can you see? I'll bring it down, then I'll match up my lining. Okay, I'll match up my lining seam towards all of those seam. Okay, you don't need to turn your armhole if you want to put a sleeve. Okay, so I'm just going to match them up together like so. I'm not picking that part. Okay, I'm not picking any part there, I'm just matching. You see, this is what I have on the inside, so I'm just matching it together with the lining. So I'll match all of my seams together, then I'll go and sew. So I'll match everything up together. So it's all about having clean finish on the inside. Okay, you don't want to keep or have any rough edge. Okay, I'm all about perfect finishing and clean finishing. Okay, so you see, now that I pinned it, I'll just go across to my sewing machine and I'll sew around all of this part. So by the time I flip it over, I will have a nice clean finish on the inside. So let's take it now to the sewing machine and sew that together. Good. So now after sewing, I'm going to now notch all of the seams. Okay, I'm going to notch the sweetheart neckline all around it. I'll notch it, I'll flip it over, then I'll go and give it a really good press. So I'm going to notch all around. Okay, so I'm going to turn this to the right side so you can see. So guys, this is what we have. So this is the good side and this is the wrong side. Okay, so it's all about perfect finishing. So I'll go and give this a good press right now. So we can add our sleeves. If we are going to be adding sleeve, our sleeve will just come around here. So I don't need to turn my armhole. Okay, so my sleeve can be here, my sleeve can also be here. So I just wanted to have a clean finish on the inside. Okay, so this is what I have on the inside. So I'll just go ahead to turn my side seam now, then I'll take it to the ironing table to give that a good press. So I'm going to be turning my lining with my side seam. So I'll turn the other side as well. So this is my side. Okay, so it's looking neat around all those parts. So the same thing on this side. So I'll just use my hand to push it all out So and this is what we have, guys, at the moment. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to go and give it a really good press so that every part will be looking flat and neat on the inside. So this is the good side. This is what the good side is looking at. This is the side. Okay, so if we are putting sleeve, you can just fit your sleeve around your armhole. So if you don't want to fit sleeve, I would have turned this part of my armhole from the beginning of the tutorial. Okay, but I just want to show us like this. In many cases, some people want to put sleeve. So this is what we have, and I'll give it a good press, so I'll show us. So guys, I've gone ahead to press it, and this is the final look of our keyhole neck detail. Okay, so I'm just going to flip the wrong side for us to see. So this is the final look of what our keyhole neck details look like. So this is how it looks from the inside. So if you are going to fit your sleeve, you just fit your sleeve around your armhole. So if there was a back bodice, you just join it to your back bodice already. So I'm going to pin this to the mannequin. Let's see how that looks. Right? And you see this keyhole detail is very deep because of the deep sweetheart that I took. That is why we have this. So I hope you guys enjoy watching this tutorial as much as I did when I was making this video. So you can just add your sleeves, any kind of sleeve you want, then you can join it to the back bodice and you have a keyhole details. Thank you guys for watching this video. So it looks really good on the mannequin, guys. Okay, you can see how open this keyhole detail is because of the deep sweetheart neckline that I choose. Okay, so you can choose any how deep you want your keyhole to look. Like I also said when we're drafting the pattern, the wideness between this place, you can also choose it. That's totally your preference as well. Okay, so it's looking really nice on the mannequin, and I hope you guys enjoy watching this video as much as I did when I was making this pattern. Okay, so we are going to be sewing up the other pattern, so we'll see how that is going to turn out as well. That is simpler than this one. This is a more technical pattern than the other one. So this is the one that overlaps. You can see that it's overlapping to the side seam. So we are going to be trying out the other pattern now, so we can learn how to make the other one as well. Guys, this particular pattern is a really very simple pattern, so I'm not going to be adding a breast pad on this one or anything because this fabric is a little bit thick and it's just also for illustration. So I'm just going to join the breast, the bustier together, the lower part. So and I'll just show us. So this one is simpler than the other one. Okay, even to finish this one up with lining and all of that is not so difficult. The other overlapping pattern is the technical one. So I'm going to be sewing up this one without adding a lining. Okay, so I'll join this part and I'll join the other one together. So I just want us to see the difference between the keyhole that overlaps and the one that doesn't overlap. Okay, so any of the pattern that you prefer, you can keep up to it. In case if you see any picture online, you can know the difference, the one that is overlapping and the one that is not overlapping. You can already know. Okay, so as you already know, we'll give it a good notch it and take it to the ironing board. Give it a good press as well. Okay, you notch it and you take it to the ironing board and you are going to give it a good press. Okay, remember this one was having a round neck. Okay, so you can deepen your neckline at this lower part as much as you want it. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit off there again, just deepen it. If you are a modest person, you don't want it to be very deep, you can just make it smaller. So I'm going to bring in my pattern. Let's see what we have here. Okay, I actually cut two because I intended to turn this one with lining before anyway, but the video is taking so much time, I don't want it to be so long. So I don't know if you guys can see already, this is what we have and this is the bottom part. So you remember when I said I wanted to find out the wideness I want for my keyhole, that I wanted I came to this other side and I used 1.5 inches on this side. Okay, so this is just me joining my lower part together, and this is the upper part that I have for this detail, and this is just where I'm going to join them together, the 1.5 that we used at the side and the 1.5 here, because that's how much open that I want. So that's how I'm just going to be joining these two patterns together. Now this one is that simple, guys. It's not overlapping. I'm just going to join this part here and join this part here. So I've turned my neckline on this one. So this is what I have after turning my neckline. So I'll give it a good press, but there will be no time for that. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'll press this part and I'll press this part. So I'm just going to match them up together. You can already see the distance I gave, so I'll just match them up together like so. I'll match them up together. I'll match them up together and I'll pin it. So guys, this is what we have for this particular pattern. Okay, this one is the keyhole neckline that doesn't overlap. It just stays here, and here is the wrong side. Okay, so if you are going to be putting a lining, you are going to now use your lining to turn all of this part. This one is straightforward. You are going to use your lining to turn here and here, which I've already turned that part already before. So whichever method that pleases you, that you prefer, you are going to keep up with it. You are going to keep doing that particular method. Okay, so I'll see you guys in my next video.